straight from the automotive industry event of the year, NADA 2025. Chicks in Charge and Authenticom are bringing you the biggest names in automotive. From industry disruptors to game-changing innovators, we're getting the inside scoop on what's next for the auto world. This is where leaders talk and the future takes shape. Are you ready? Buckle up and let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of Chicks in Charge. We are here live at NADA in the Authenticom booth. We are having so much fun. I actually just missed my own last podcast because there was such an exciting announcement happening over at a different booth that I had to go be a part of that and missed one of my podcasts. Thankfully, Robin jumped in. I'm sure you've heard that episode by now, but we're back. We're here. And I have Kendra Brown with me today of Dream Team Media. You are the president?
I'm the strategy director and
founder, yes. So we were just talking a little bit before the show. I always knew you as a dealer. And so you were telling me that in 2022 that you had made the decision to move into the vendor side of things and offer all of the things that you had learned as a dealer in the digital marketing side and offer that to other dealers. What was that decision process like?
It came organically, really. I had spent some time since 2019 working outside of my dealership in agencies, but I was doing digital marketing for franchise dealerships. And that's what opened me up to this whole concept of data-driven marketing and the world of analytics and all that we can do with that to improve marketing. And once I was working in there and my husband was still running our dealership and we were in a 20 group, I was able to bring that experience and that knowledge to independent dealers.
Right.
And I could see how far they had to go in innovating their marketing and making it more cost efficient even for small dealerships.
Yes.
And so it just came from education at first and then providing services and then helping them. It just grew and evolved.
Yeah. One of the things that we noticed, we had taken NIADA 2 years ago in 2023 and noticed the different audience than what you see here at NADA, like vendor-wise, people who aren't quite marketing to the independents as much. So I don't know that they have as much opportunities because the big guys aren't chasing them for some reason.
Yeah.
And I want to know, you worked on the franchise side. Obviously, you come from the independent side. What's the biggest difference in how each has to be marketed, the franchise versus an independent?
Right. So in the independent space, the buyer is typically independent used vehicles, really. The buyer is typically more finance focused than product focused.
Right.
And on the franchise side, it's more product focused, of course. Even in a pre-owned department, you can still really focus on product marketing.
Right.
That's really the big difference. And having products and services, technology, software, everything that's tailored toward the finance-focused buyer is a huge differentiator in this to market the buyers that they're marketing to and the independent dealers themselves.
Right. And do you think that there's going to be a big shift this year? We saw a lot happen last year, and I felt like independents probably got hurt a little bit more than even the franchise stores did by everything that happened. I would say the last year and a half. We're moving into 2025 and a lot of things are changing. We're talking to people here at the show and we're hearing that everyone's going to be more proactive instead of reactive and really take a hold of their marketing. Are you seeing that kind of same flow from your clients too?
Yes, I see clients, they've gone through vendors, they've gone through, different marketing. They've kind of experienced enough to know that they don't know what they don't know, and they're looking for someone who can, in a not just a consultative way, but help educate them on why these things are important. What is a KPI? What are appropriate KPIs? What should I look at? There's just such a vast landscape of data available to us. Someone needs to help them navigate it. So I feel like in that sense, they are starting to take control and really get ahead of their marketing and understand how important their data is to cost efficiency.
Right. And I think about the education available to both. So you're talking about how you explain to them the KPIs and all of the metrics they need to be watching, where usually if you're a franchise store, the OEM is telling you those things. They're telling you, hey, these are the things that we care about that you need to be watching. And if it's not something the OEM cares about, then you're not watching it. But who's helping these independents, know these metrics and what to look for and how to manage their marketing. Because a lot of times, it's a family business, or just
Right.
it got started up on a whim, on a passion usually,
Right.
and it's a good question that leads into how are they getting their information if they're not connected with I-80 or anything like that.
Right. If they're not connected with an IADA or an 20 group, or they're comparing themselves to other dealers and kind of creating their own benchmark among a group of like dealers, that the only other place they have to go is art media channels, different art magazine publications. But really, there's a lot you can do with your own data, and that's what I do with independents. But it's also something that the franchise dealers should be doing as well, in my opinion, because the OEMs can give you information about, that kind of a demographic view of your clientele, your target audience. They can do a lot, but really focusing on your local marketing and how you brand yourself at a local level and make your own unique operation competitive in the space in terms of marketing. That's something that you can do internally with your own data and focus. That would be a great place for a one rooftop franchise or a group of dealer group, for them to really focus on their own marketing and use the franchise data as a tool, but really do their own marketing.
Yeah, and branding is such a big part of that. I mean, we've seen it here. A lot of the big dealer groups have really branded themselves in one way or another.
Right.
And there's small independents in every single store that has a giant franchise group in every city, and they've got to be able to stand out amongst the crowd. And what makes me different than everybody else?
Right.
What's going to be the difference for me? And so, it all goes back to knowing how to sell your own store. I think that's the biggest thing. Why do I do what I do? What do you get different when you buy with me versus the guy next to you? And all of those things that are just paramount to longevity and customer retention, really.
Exactly. People want to buy a car. Well, I think in general, people want to buy someone they trust. I think that's a general standard of sales. But especially in used cars, like that's why we see used car dealerships are so much for business. And even I think new cars is the same way.
Yeah.
People are more willing to reach out to someone they know, even if it's not someone they've spoken to for 20 years, and say, hey, what do you recommend my path be to bring a car? Than to just start doing it all on their own. And we have to think about that. The dealership have to think about that in terms of taking over their own branding from a trust perspective and gaining the trust of customers for their brand, not just a specific salesperson.
Yeah. So when you remind me, I want to say you inherited the dealership that you had, or did you start it?
I started it.
Okay, you started it. So when you made that transition from, being full-time in the dealership to wanting to be more on the marketing side, what kind of led you down that path?
Right. So I first started off in compliance and accounting.
Okay.
Dealership. So I was not doing marketing. That's not to say I didn't have like a creative background. I had some professional creative training in graphic design and things like that. But I was mainly all about the business side of things. I really wanted to understand that first, going into a new industry, a new business for myself. And it was in 2015 when we could not sell cars via magazine that I started doing our own digital marketing. I had to figure out our website. And at that time, Facebook was there, and I would use it. It was something I was starting to use, and it was really beneficial to us at that time. But I was more interested in how I was going to dominate my search results page.
Yeah.
I think I had gone to a TI-88, a Texas Independent Convention, and there was a representative from Google there, and then one from Facebook. And I got a lot of information, and it was like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, your Google profile takes up, it's like free space, on a search engine. And so I was like, yeah, that's what I got to do, because I'm just a little guy. I didn't have a lot of money to spend. So I just set out to learn, how am I going to dominate the page? And then that's where it really sparked an interest, like a passion, I don't think I'm as passionate about used cars as I am marketing and with dealers.
Yeah.
You know, I love cars, don't get me wrong about that, but this sparked a passion in me, and I just kept following that.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, honestly, the best marketers are the ones who are just passionate and creative about new ways to do it.
Right.
And, you know, there's probably 1,000 to 2,000 at least people in this room right now that, you know, have some type of marketing background or are currently in a marketing job. And every single one of them are going to do it differently. No two people will do it the same because it's your own flair. It's you know what you've learned in your journey that has worked for you, that works for your store versus somebody else's store. And I think it's just a testament. Our words this event have been resilience and pivotal about, you know, how everybody even got it. I mean, it's something like that. And they posted this morning, or maybe it was late last night, that they ended up getting over 70% of the people who were registered to come made it in. And that was with multiple airline cancellations and closures and everything. And I think that, you know, we in the marketing world had to survive. I mean, just like the dealers had to survive COVID, had to survive, you know, the inventory shortages, the used car shortages, everything that it just kept serving up to us, the interest rate hikes. I feel like that probably hurt used cars more than it hurt new cars even. And so the marketing brain never stops. It's okay, here I'm faced with a problem and I have to learn how to solve it. But there's no guidebook on how to solve it. I've just got to use all of the skills that I've been given and find a way through this, around it, over it. And the best dealerships who made it through are the ones that had good marketing teams. I would say 100%.
Yes.
What would you say is your goal, you know, for this event moving into 2025, and your focus for this year? Like, what's big and new that you're going to really take by the legs?
Right. So I came to this event just basically, I'm just coming curious. I have no idea what to expect, and open mind. Let's see what happens. And it's been great. What's on my radar, I've made so many, when you come in with an open mind and curiosity, you meet so many people, so many things can happen, so many possibilities. That's been great about this event. Going into 2025, what I'm focused on is really helping dealers create an entire marketing plan, a website end-to-end, website included, and leveraging data. So the thing about data that I often see is, you know, we look at a trend, we say this goes up and this goes up, or there's a relation, and it's we know that we can't make that assumption, we have to test it. And so one thing that I've been doing over the past few years with my dealers is gathering their data for our large enough data set and then testing the data. And it's interesting to find that in different operations, when you test correlation or predictors of a sale or lead volume, the metrics are not the same. So in one dealership, you might see that BDP views are an indicator or a predictor of a lead volume. In another dealership, there might not be any correlation or relationship between the two. So that's what I've been doing with dealers, and I just want to continue doing that because that's what I mean when dealers really need to leverage their own data. It's not just using it and putting it into marketing campaigns. Right. It's testing it also, and gathering your data sets and knowing, you know, what is really working for us. Yeah. And then making decisions from there. And it's going to change. It's going to change over time. So you just have to constantly be doing it and testing it. So that's what I'm excited about.
I love that. That's awesome for the dealers that, you know, you're forward thinking like that. And, you know, it's not, like you said, it's not just for your remarketing campaigns. We've got to be using this to leverage how we're getting new customers and learn, you know, what is our website broken, you know, our picture's not good enough. All of the things that could literally lead into that. My tech stack isn't loading fast enough and they're getting impatient and leaving. I mean, all of the things, and it's things that, let's be honest, dealers don't necessarily have time to think about. Like, they are selling cars, they're managing teams, they're buying cars, all of these things, that having the right marketing team in place is the game changer.
Exactly.
And there's not a lot of them out there that I even know. I mean, of the marketing people I've talked to today, I think you're the first one to mention, you know, utilizing the data for more than just remarketing. Right. That's awesome. So, moving into 2025, what events do you foresee you're going to be at this year? We were talking a bit before about NIADA. Are you going to be there this year?
I'm planning to. I'm looking at NIADA, Texas IADA, I've been a few times as a dealer, just not as a vendor yet. Some of the I-80s, that's what I'm looking at. Used Car Week.
That's always a good one.
Yes, and this is my first ADA type association event, and so I'm gonna look into more of those because this was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, this is these events. Like my first time at an NADA, like my experience was always like digital dealer, smaller events, and then I get up here and I'm like, when does it end? Like, it's like miles. Like, it's so big and it's so hard to comprehend. Comprehend if you're a person who's never been here before. Like, there's no way to describe how big this is. It's like you're walking through city blocks indoors and through all this amazing product. All these people who are just working to make the industry better. Everyone's in a really good mood, and the energy here is contagious. There's nothing like it. I think everybody needs to come to one of these ones.
I agree. I mean, I was going to different booths, and I was like, do you go to the I-80s? Do you do any of those? And like, well, we have whatever. Like, they're dealing with these same issues. Like,
yeah.
This is a great product that would, and not like super expensive, like out of their budgets. Like, no, this is something that could definitely be marketed to $100. So that's been really fun too, to make those connections, find vendors and services and products that I can share with.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's like the first thing I noticed when we first attended NI88 after experiencing events like this is you start coming to like similar conferences like NADA, Digital Dealer, all of those, and you see the same booths over and over. And, you see Cox Automotive everywhere, you see Goobagoo everywhere, you see Podium everywhere, and then you go to NI88 and there's like a million booths you don't know. And you're like, who the heck are you? Like, but you don't see the big dogs. Yeah. You don't see the Goobagoo, you don't see the Podium, you don't see them advertising to the franchise stores when almost every single franchise store started off as an independent at some point. How are we growing our independent dealers into, future franchises or even future auto groups as independents?
Right.
If we're not putting our expertise into them, where honestly, in here, vendors are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
It's coming from a vendor. And, how are we looking to grow that independent market, knowing that used cars drive this industry and drive the direction that we're going to go? We've got to put some focus back on the I-80s. The states, the national, that was a pivotal event that we went to. And I think that it's awesome for any vendor, any dealer to be plugged in with their local I-80 and see what they can do to help.
For sure.
I hope I see you there.
I hope so.
I'm hoping I go to. I don't even know when it is. Like, I was so caught up with this one that I didn't check the dates of any other event. I just today looked at the dates for NAMAD and had to double check the dates for Women in Automotive because I was like, oh my God, are they on top of the book? 2.5 weeks apart.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be a big year. I think the energy has really shifted, and I'm really excited to see, what projection everybody's going to take, and if they're really going to be proactive or it's all just talk right now.
Yeah.
So I think we're in that phase right now where we'll see.
Yeah.
The strong ones will make it.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been so long overdue. I literally thought when she walked up, I was like, oh yeah, we're old friends. We know each other. And she's like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I'm like, oh my God, we've never actually met in person. So I think I've just been following you for so long on social media that we just feel like old time friends. So yeah. I'm glad that we finally got to meet in person and do this. And I really hope that we get to meet up at future events and I get to check in and see what you're up to.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much
for having me.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to connect with Kendra on social media and check out Dream Team Media to see how they can help you. And I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
This episode is brought to you by Authenticom, the business behind the automotive business. And this is Chicks in Charge Automotive Edition, available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Help us grow. Rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.